Hey everyone, so I'm underneath my mulberry bush or tree, and I wanted to share a little bit of information on it, mostly for my friend who I just gave her some twigs so she can try to propagate them and get them to root. Um, Mulberry is an incredibly versatile tree and fruit. It's really cool. Back in the day, they tried to harvest the fruit, but unfortunately, they don't ship very well. So that was a no-no for everybody. So this variety right here is a dwarf variety, and which means it's smaller, but it's really not small at all because this tree is probably, I'm gonna say 20 feet or so, maybe bigger, but it's really cool because it's an ever-bearing variety, which means it doesn't need like a male or a female. It can actually just, continue to produce fruit, which is really delicious. It's very sweet. Um, this variety is kind of small. Let me see if I have, almost lost you there. So right here, let's see, this one right here has, let's see, has a little tiny one. And obviously this is not ready to eat. This, I have read, they can produce hallucinations and things like that if eaten immaturely. So don't eat them when they're white or pink or green. But when they turn a really beautiful deep purple, almost black color, then they're definitely edible and ready to eat and delicious. They're better eaten fresh. You could rinse them and you could probably juice it, freeze them, use them in your baked goods. But actually, even a wine, I tried making that also as well. It's really good, it's really delicious. And the reason I want to share this with you is because it's also really good for your animals out on the farm. Obviously, this tree is good because it creates shade. It creates a type of fodder system for your animals. You can literally just chop it and give it to them. You could also let them come and eat it once it's nice and established. You can see where my goats have come and they've pretty much cleared the bottom. Every so often I will come and let them take this down a little bit. I let this one grow to a bigger height because I needed the shade out here. We're in Florida and it is very hot, it's very humid, and simple things like shade are really a smart way to go, especially with a tree like this. It's really difficult to kill it. You can easily propagate it. Um, you can just take, I know there's different methods and different ways, but I can literally just take a branch and put it in the dirt and it will take root and it will grow into a tree like this. I bought this tree as a little tiny cutting from Baker Creek years ago, and I didn't know how I was gonna do, but it's prolific. It's really good. I don't recommend that you guys plant this anywhere near your home. It does have a pretty good root system. I don't recommend that it goes near your house, or don't park your car under it if you don't want purple stains all over your car. But it is really good. And actually, I'm going to take you over here. One of the days that my husband was cutting the mulberry tree, he actually cut just a stick. It was actually just a stick, and it was probably this tall, and there was nothing on it. There was no leaves. There was literally nothing. He didn't do anything but stick it in the ground, and I think he may have poured a little bit of water on it. We totally forgot about it, and right now it's pretty big. It's still just kind of a twig, but it's a tall one at that. So it's doing really, really, really well, and I really recommend it. You get berries. You can go ahead and get fodder for your animals. You can feed it to your chickens, your goats. You can use it as compost. And also, I have to say that it's pretty good with privacy. I have back here just a ton of bamboo. It's called sea breeze bamboo, and it's excellent for privacy, for shading. You can use this tree very versatilely too. You can feed it to your animals. You can propagate it. It's really difficult. I don't even recommend doing this unless you're experienced with bamboo. But I realized that the mulberry can do the same thing and probably quicker. So we've started planting them strategically all around the property for shade, for food. Also, we have a lot of birds, and we want to make sure that they have plenty to eat around, the whole time around. I don't usually put out feeders, but I will plant the mulberries, and they do really well. They love the trees. They don't usually build nests around them, but they do come, and I mean, they just take all the berries. And the truth is that if you only have one tree, you might not want them to do that. But when you start planting and cutting and putting all over the place, it's not going to hurt that you have one tree that's kind of your sacrificial plant, and they get fed, and it's beautiful to see. It's relaxing, and but it's really good. It's ridiculously hard to kill it. I'm going to take you guys around to show you another one that has survived after just literally sticking it in the ground. Okay, so if you see behind me right here, that big old bush is a mulberry cutting that was literally a tiny twig, and it got watered because I had my kids outside in a kiddie pool, and they didn't use it anymore, so we let the ducks have it. And every day we just poured duck water near it, around it, on it, and I didn't think anything about it. I said, hey, if it survives, great. If not, whatever. Well, it bloomed, and it's beautiful and gorgeous, and it supplies us with plenty of mulberries throughout the season. So while trimming the grass and such, my husband cut a piece off, and he just planted this little twig here. And I'm telling you, I really don't think it was watered at the beginning, which is usually not recommended. I don't think he watered it. I think he literally just stabbed it into the ground, and that's it. And so lately, I've just kind of given it a little bit of water just in hopes that maybe it was alive. And I'm telling you, it had no leaves on it for a month. And I didn't really care that it was there. It wasn't bugging me. It was just a little twig. And I came out here yesterday, and there's tons of new growth and new leaves. So it's extremely easy to grow. It's really hard to kill. And once you have a good one, you can go ahead and cut it. You can propagate it. You can sell it at your farmers markets. You can give it away. It's just really a win-win. So you have it. You can make a tea out of it. You can harvest the berries. You can dehydrate them. You can powderize them. Put them into your soap making, your teas, your salves, whatever. It's really high in vitamin C, and I'm sure many other things that I don't know right now. But it is extremely delicious. It has the taste of a very sweet blackberry. The flesh is a little bit softer, in essence, like a raspberry, but it's not fuzzy. So it's more firmer like the blackberry, but softer like a raspberry. It's kind of doesn't make sense what I'm saying, but it is sweet. It's delicious. You can make all sorts of things with it, and I'm telling you guys, you should grow it. If you can find a place that sells it relatively inexpensive, I say go for it. It is a mulberry dwarf ever-bearing tree. I got mine a few years ago at Baker Creek, but my goal is to go ahead and maybe start an Etsy shop or something and sell some. They're really easy, really versatile, and I think that they could help you with a little side income at the farmer's market or by your gate, whatever. And it's good for your animals. It's fodder, it's food, and it's important as the days go on and things, start to get tougher. It's really important that we teach people that you can eat these edibles in your garden. I think it's important that we can learn to survive and thrive out of the things that we've planted. And it's little steps. It's super teeny tiny steps. And if you can get a cutting from an established tree, you don't have to wait, 2 or 3 years to get any sort of, fruit. You can literally get it that first season, but that second season, it'll be all the better. So mulberries, ever-bearing dwarf variety, you should give them a try. I think it's a great idea. I'm gonna take you guys around to see another mulberry tree so I can show you how big that one is and what we do with it. Okay, so I came to my, I guess, market garden or whatever, and I trimmed a bunch of them off. If I did it on camera, then unfortunately I'm using my phone right now and it would have fallen. So we're gonna see if we can get the attention of the goats. I'm not sure if they're gonna come because they have a big fresh bale of hay right now, but let's see if maybe other animals will like to come and get it. Hey, Lewis. Lewis, come here, baby. You're looking good. You are looking good. Hey, Lewis, come here. Come on, get some. Do you like it? Yeah, you do. That a boy? Cherry, Amy, Donna, Rania. Come here, ladies. Cherry, Amy, Donna, Rania, Rose, Sally. Hi, ladies. I got you some goodies. So, do goats like them? Yeah, they like them. Do they like everything? No, they don't like everything. They are picky eaters, and that's a huge common misconception about goats. They will not eat anything, and no, they don't sit around eating cans. They're actually pretty smart and really lovely, and that will help with cutting down my costs. That'll help with cutting down my cost of feed, my cost of hay, my cost of whatever. Everything that they get, this is definitely helps you with cutting down your cost to your goats and your animals. And it is free because it's flourishing, literally, wherever it is that you put it. You like that? And it's tasty too. So there you have it, guys. Dwarf, ever-bearing, mulberry, super hard to kill, so be careful where you plant it. The root system is pretty big and it's long, and I think that's about it. And as far as vitamins and minerals and all that good jazz, I'll try to look something up and leave a link and tell you guys a little bit more about it. But I mean, it's a fruit, so I'm sure it's got a lot of good stuff for you. You can make, like I said, teas and smoothies and whatever else you want. But most importantly, guys, it does help bring down the cost. It's extremely easy, very versatile. I really think that the dwarf variety is a good way to go, so you can easily get to the berries. I've let some of these grow too tall, and it's not a huge deal. All I have to do is get on a ladder, chop it down, and replant wherever I want, and it will grow and it'll flourish, and so will you guys. So try it out. Dwarf ever-bearing mulberries. Try Baker Creek. I think it's rareseeds.com, and if they don't have it, I'm sure somebody does. And don't worry about GMOs or anything like that. Usually we don't have access to GMO crops and things like that. That's really more for the monocultural industry. So treat it good. And as far as feeding it, it's really not that difficult. You should go ahead. I know everyone has different ideas on how you should feed them. I think you should feed it however you feel like feeding it. Obviously, if you want it to be healthy, you're going to feed it. A lot of people say only feed, this season, that season, spring or fall or whatever. So I do agree with not feeding it too much in the winter, because it does kind of go dormant, and in the spring it'll pop up. But anything from worm tea, worm castings, whatever type of organic feed you want to give it. You could do a fertilizer. We do rabbit manure, goat manure, anything. Sometimes if an animal dies, we'll go ahead and plant them under the mulberry trees. Just anything really will feed it just well. They are berry, so they do like a little bit of acidity. So I will come out here, every so often, collect some like a week's worth of coffee grounds and go ahead and sprinkle it around the bottom of the tree. All those little things definitely help it to thrive. But I'm telling you, this is a really versatile, really easy growing variety, and I think you guys should give it a go. And that's enough. It's kind of hot out here. All right, guys, see you later. Okay, so I came inside really quick to show you guys how we're gonna propagate one, and we're gonna do a little experiment to see if there's any difference in grabbing a new growth leaf, the mulberry, or not leaf but a stem, or getting a more mature already kind of barky one. So let's see. So what I'm gonna do is I got these little two little seed starter pots. These are from the Bootstrap Farmer. Oh, what's on my back? What the heck was that? It was like a jumping bug. Anyways, this is real life, people. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put some dirt. I'm just using Jiffy's Natural Organic Seed Starting Mix. I'm relisted. Usually this stuff I don't particularly like working with it right away because it gets kind of dry. So what I usually do, and I recommend, if you can, either you dump it all out and put it in like a big container and fill it up with water, or just do it in the bag. Sometimes it works and there's no holes in it. So I went ahead and I filled it up the whole way with the seed starter, and mine is already pre-wet because, again, I throw water in it, just enough to saturate all of it. Otherwise it isn't ideal for when you're throwing seeds. So they're both planted. Well, they're not planted, the dirt's in them. Sorry guys, it's really hot outside. It does something to you. And what I'm gonna do with this green one is I'm gonna go ahead and take off almost the majority of all the leaves. So I'm gonna leave, I left the two big ones and a tiny one, and it is gonna go to shock, obviously. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this at an angle, so it isn't like a straight blunt cut, it's a little bit of an angle. And I'm gonna go ahead and plant it in, and obviously I'm gonna have to label it, so I'll go ahead and write down in a little while what it is, and that it's a green stem. Obviously I could see it. Sometimes these little things get misplaced, so I'll probably also just grab just like a sticker label or something and write it down in the event that, a kid took one of these or it fell off or they fell or whatnot. So this one's planted, and I'm gonna do the same thing with the more mature one here. I'm gonna go ahead and just take down the majority of the leaves. I know it seems that I'm hurting it. I'm really not. I'm actually helping it, because instead of it thinking that it has to produce, a flower and a seed, a flower and a fruit, I'm telling it, hey, something just happened. I need you to produce some more roots. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this at an angle, and I'm gonna go ahead and just, like with the other one, bury it in. I'm gonna go ahead and put my label, which I'll write down in a minute, and my accidental label. And I go ahead and write that down. Gotta look for a pen and a marker, but here you have it. So new growth cutting and a more mature, like a twig type cutting that's already got the bark on it. We're gonna do a little we're gonna do a little test, a little project, and see if maybe in a week, if they've already started to root and if there's any significant difference. I'm not using a root hormone this time because I really just want to test out how well this plant does, just, if we mistreated it, if we didn't, if we didn't try to feed or water it or anything like that, which I have really good high hopes that it's gonna root just fine and it's not gonna die. But we'll go ahead and we'll see it in a week, and then maybe the next week and the next week, and I'll try to remember to come back and post some more videos on how the mulberries are doing. And if anybody out there thinks that they might be interested in getting some cuttings, let me know and I will do my best to get some out there to you. But that's it. Very simple. Mulberry cuttings, everbearing. And I'm telling you, this little twig will become that massive tree that I just showed you guys in all the different areas. And again, I have a few planted. Those weren't the only ones, but those were the main ones that I could reach right now in the front garden and the side garden. So again, really versatile, good for fodder, good for your animals, good for you, good for shade, blocking, things like that. It doesn't lose all its leaves here in Florida. I don't know what it would be like somewhere a little bit up north or more colder area, more different zone, but here it does really, really well. All right, guys, I hope that, I don't know, hope that taught you something. And if anybody's interested, you guys could just direct message me and I'll see what I can do. Okay, thanks.